On time. All right, guys. Welcome to the Hermosa Beach Triathlon Talk. I am Jim Lubinsky, head coach of Tower 26 Triathlon. It's a pleasure to be here giving this chat with all you guys. I have a bunch of our Tower 26 coaches on here. I believe our race director, Hermosa Triathlon race director, Michael Epstein, will be on here as well. If he's not, we'll just pretend he's on here. And Jerry, you can like pretend you're Epstein. How's that sound?
I can pretend.
I think you'd do pretty well at that. All right, guys. So we are Tower 26. We are the presenting sponsor of the Hermosa Beach Triathlon. We're a triathlon coaching / swimming organization. We do pool swims, open water swims. We have triathlon training programs. So we'll get into all of that as we progress through. But we're going to give you some tips on race day. We're going to give you some tips on how you should be executing race day, all the equipment you will need for your race day. We'll answer a bunch of questions that you guys have. We are recording this presentation, so we'll be able to send that link out. We put that link on the Hermosa Beach Triathlon site, and we'll get it out on our Tower 26 sites, and you'll have plenty of access to that. So if you see something that you want to make a note on, you can always go back and watch that recording and make that note as you watch the recording the second, third, fourth time through. We do a lot of these race talks, and we find a lot of athletes get a lot out of watching it 2 times through, 3 times through. We've actually had athletes watch them 10, 15, 20 times through because they enjoy the sound of my voice so much. So I'm kidding, guys. So we'll get right into this thing. We do these calls every week for our local Tower 20 or our worldwide Tower 26 athletes, where we talk about educational material. We do them every Tuesdays. So like I said, if you guys have questions, we'll probably cover most of the questions, but shoot them into the chat. Let me share my screen. I have an official Hermosa Beach Triathlon presentation here. All right, so Hermosa Beach Triathlon brought to you by Tower 26. We have our staff on the call right now is myself. I am the head triathlon coach at Tower 26. I have 13 plus years of triathlon coaching experience as well as swim coaching experience. Professional triathlete, former professional ice hockey player, and I've pretty much raced on every continent on the planet, every distance that you can imagine. So I have a good experience in my racing pedigree. I'm also honored to say we have Coach Jerry Rodriguez, the founder of Tower 26 Triathlon, or Tower 26 in general. He's an open water and triathlon swim expert. He has, 40 plus years of coaching experience under your belt?
Almost.
And a lot of these South Bay athletes who are doing the Hermosa Beach Triathlon will be happy to hear you've won the peer-to-peer race. How many times? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times?
I've done it 21 times.
21 times, and he's won it who knows how many times. So a lot of experience there. We hopefully have Michael Epstein on the call. He's our Hermosa Beach Triathlon race director, and he is very detail-oriented. So I don't think you guys if you've ever raced a triathlon, you've never raced a triathlon that has as much attention to detail as something like the Hermosa Beach Triathlon or the Malibu Triathlon, which he's also the race director of. But he's very detail-oriented, so you're in for a treat if this is your first time racing a triathlon. It's done really well, put together really well. We also have Coach Megan Melgard with us. She is we call her the COO of Tower 26 Triathlon. Jared, can I call her the COO? She pretty much keeps us in line.
She's the boss, really.
Yeah, she puts all this stuff together. She put this chat together. So thank you for all you do, Megan. You're a former Division I swimmer at the University of Florida, and you are also a triathlon and swim coach. With us as well as Coach Cindy Kramer. She's a triathlon coach, and she's the head coach of the Tower 26 Foundation program, which we'll talk about a little bit in detail later. We also have Coach Chris O'Driscoll, who is the triathlon coach. He lives in the South Bay. You know him well. You've seen his face around. He runs our Sunday open water swims down at Torrance Beach in South Redondo. So we have plenty of firepower on this call. Like I said, if you have a question, if I can't answer it, one of these amazing coaches can answer that question. So let me get into this. Remember, if you have any questions, write it into the chat. Coach Megan will try and work it into the presentation as we progress through, or we will get to it at the end of the presentation. And remember, if it's on your mind, ask. Usually in most of our calls with most of our athletes who've been around for some time, I say, don't ask any stupid questions. On this call, I'm going to say, you can ask any question. There's no such thing as a stupid question, because honestly, it's always great. The Hermosa Beach Triathlon, we invite a lot of, it attracts a lot of beginner first-time triathletes. And a lot of times us coaches have been coaching for years and years and years. Sometimes we might forget some of the details. So if you have any question on your mind at all, please ask, don't hesitate. We will answer any question that's out there, and we'll get it off your mind.
It's helpful to know, Jim, that any question that does get asked, likely somebody else is thinking of it and perhaps even afraid to ask it. So go ahead and please ask the questions.
Yes, very true. And yeah, like I said, I tried to cover all the bases in this presentation, but I know I missed some stuff. So like I said, ask it. And if this is successful and there's more that we have to cover, we're not afraid to do another one of these in a couple weeks. So, all right. So first thing I want to do is put together a quick race day checklist that's pretty much to the point. It doesn't have too much stuff. You don't want to bring your whole U-Haul truck to transition area and empty it out. So there's too much stuff to think about. But like I said, this is just quick and to the point, things that you're going to need on race day that'll cover all the bases. A lot of athletes, especially first-time triathletes, ask, what do I wear under my wetsuit? And for that, you have a Triathlon Kit. It's a tight-fitting spandex outfit, if you will. Has a small chamois that gives you a little bit of comfort when you're riding your bike, but not too much of a chamois of an actual bike shorts that's thick and it feels like you're running around with a wet diaper after you swim in it. So it has a tiny chamois. I'll get to a picture of what a triathlon kit looks like, but these are available at any triathlon store. They're available at the Triathlon Lab. You can go there and try them on and get the kit that fits you, but it's not baggy. It doesn't catch much wind when you get on the bike, and it is form fitting and it's easily drying. So when you get on the run, you're not sopping wet wearing cotton shirt, cotton shorts. So I'll show you a picture of that on the next slide. 2 sets of goggles. So you might say, Jim, why the heck do I need 2 sets of goggles for a 400-yard swim? If it's a cloudy day, you'll want a clear set of goggles that's not gonna cause any type of darkness in the clouds. And you also want a tinted set of goggles if it's a sunny day, because we never know what we're gonna get on race day. Sun, clouds, you want to be prepared for both. So a clear set of goggles and a tinted set of goggles, depending on the weather for that day. You need a brightly colored towel, just something that'll help you identify your bike. When you get in the transition, there's 1,000 bikes, because Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, there's gonna be 1,000 athletes out at this race.
Correct. Yep.
There's going to be 1,000 bikes at this race. So you're going to have to identify your bike. So it helps to bring a brightly colored towel. They're not going to allow any chalk, balloons, any kind of that stuff in transition area. So you're going to need something to help you identify where your bike is, and a brightly colored towel sometimes helps with that. You need a wetsuit, preferably a triathlon swimming wetsuit that's going to help you get a little flotation, keep you warm if the water's cool. This morning, the water was pretty warm. 70, 75 degrees this morning. So you could get away without a wetsuit, but honestly, the wetsuit does help you stay buoyant and helps you move through the water quicker because you're moving on top of the water. So if you don't have a wetsuit, that's probably something you want to look into. Like I said, the sponsor of the race is Triathlon Lab. They have plenty of wetsuits, so you can go there and find a wetsuit that fits you and fits your specific body type. Vaseline, you want to put Vaseline on any areas under the wetsuit that might chafe. We're going to get to our open water swims that we provide through Tower 26, where you can wear that wetsuit and find out, hey, my neck chafes in this spot. I'm going to have to add a little Vaseline onto that area. Also Vaseline somewhere you might want to put on your feet if you have any chafing on your feet when you run. So that's going to be something you want to put in your transition bag. And you might want to bring some toilet paper, because once in a while, the outhouses, as much as we like to anticipate having enough toilet paper in those outhouses, you might want to bring some toilet paper just to be safe, cover all those bases. Am I right, O'Driscoll? We'll get into a story about O'Driscoll's toilet paper situation at a race one time, some other time, but I want to get through this. But he has had toilet paper situations, and it's pretty comical. So this is a race kit. We have a 2-piece race kit on the left, a 1-piece race kit on the right, as you can tell. There's not too much to it, just form fitting, fits your specific body, has a little chamois in there in your crotch area that gives you a little comfort on the bike, but it doesn't weigh you down by getting all wet when you come out. So that's what you wear under your race kit. You don't go in there naked and you take off the suit, because when you take off that suit, you're going to be in transition naked as Jaybird. And, some people may enjoy watching that, but you probably won't enjoy that. So wear your race kit under your suit, and that, like I said, that'll give you a little protection when you got on the ride, and the bumping around won't irritate you that much because of the little chamois in there. Bike. So you need your bike, obviously. It's mandatory that you wear a helmet. Wear your cycling shoes, or if you have baskets on your pedals, you want to wear a pair of shoes that are going to be comfortable for you to wear for 10 miles on the bike. And if you wear socks in training, if you wear socks when you're riding your bike every day, you're going to want to bring socks with you to put on when you get out of the water. You're going to wear some sunglasses. You don't want to be squinting out there, especially on a sunny day. There's nothing worse than squinting on the bike ride, trying to look out for other riders, look out for, whatever you have to look out for on the course. Bring some sunglasses. You want to have some water bottles on your bike, stay hydrated throughout the ride. One thing you need to do is stay topped off with calories. Obviously, it's a short race, but when it's a short race, you still have to stay on top of your nutrition, because you do have to run after the bike ride. So bring a gel with you, bring some blocks with you. These are stuff that you can get at any store, REI, Triathlon Lab. Easily digested carbohydrates that you could take quickly throughout the bike ride on the run, and it will get in your system and won't be too hard to swallow. It's not like you're eating a roast beef sandwich out there. You need a toolkit, and you have to be able to change a flat tire. So although we'd love to help you change flat tires, there's not going to be mechanics on every inch of the bike course. So practice changing a flat tire and make sure you have everything you need to change a flat tire. God forbid that happens on race day. So you need a tube, a CO2, an adapter for that CO2, and some tire levers to help you change that tire. And if you have a pump, you want to make sure you have a floor pump so you can fill up those tires on race morning. There will be pumps in transition, but if you want to pump up your tires on your bike before you bring it to transition, then you don't have to worry about finding a pump in transition. That will help. Chris, Megan, Jerry, Cindy, if I'm leaving anything off, please pipe up. On the run, there's not much you need on the run. Running shoes, you need a race belt. So this is something that you attach your race number to, so you don't have to keep especially if you're going out to buy a nice, sexy race kit for $100, you don't want to put pin holes in it right away. So a race belt goes around your waist and it holds your race number in place as you run. And this is something you put on when you go in the T2, the second transition. So you want to get a race belt. They're available on Google. They're available at Triathlon Lab. Hat or visor. Obviously, if you're running on the Strand, you know how bright it gets. So make sure you have a hat in your transition area. And then your nutrition, like I said, a gel. And some people like to have salt for a 3-mile run. You probably don't need the salt, but you probably want to have a gel in there so you can take that on the run and just be topped off with those carbohydrates. Am I making sense here, Cindy? Everything good? Everything's good. She's giving a thumb up. All right. Beautiful. Some miscellaneous stuff you might want to bring with you is a Garmin. If you like to log your rides, your runs, your swims, make sure you have your Garmin. Body Glide, same thing as the Vaseline, where you're going to put on anywhere that might chafe. Sunscreen. Like I said, you don't want to finish and be a lobster when you finish, taking all those finish line photos and everybody making fun of you because how red you look. Make sure you apply sunscreen before the race. Vaseline, already covered that. Maybe some electrical tape and a multi-tool. If anything's loose, you're prepared for it. You can tape it down, fix that in transition before the race starts, and a change of clothes for after the race so you're not walking around in stinky, sweaty clothes. And like I said, if you look like a lobster and you're running around in stinky, sweaty clothes, you're not going to be invited back to any of the triathlons. So bring a change of clothes for after the race. All right, so that's our checklist. Like I said, this is being recorded, so you guys, if you didn't write that down, you want to go over all that stuff before the race. Make sure you have everything in order. You can just replay this on YouTube through that link and just go through it one by one. Slow motion, you can hear my voice in slow motion as you go through it. So athlete check-in. So this is a lot of athletes wait to the last minute. How the heck am I going to go check in? So I just wanted to cover this real quick, and I just copy and pasted this from the website. Obviously, that's why it's white there. So Saturday, August 14th, you can pick up your packet at Triathlon Lab. So the race is Sunday, right? But you can pick up your packet a day early, just so you have it all tuned in. You get your race number, so you can put it on your race belt. You can put your race sticker on your bike. You have a number that you put on your bike. That's a sticker that identifies the bike as yours. You have, the chip the timing chip. Everybody's going to be wearing a timing chip. So you know we know how fast you are in the swim. We know how fast you are on the bike. We know how fast you're in the run. And we can put you in that overall standings, tell you who's at the top of the podium. So you can get all that stuff from 12 to 4 at Triathlon Lab on Saturday. And they will also be giving clinics at Triathlon Lab. I believe it's every hour on the hour. They'd be different talks about wetsuits, about a bunch of different topics based on triathlon. That schedule come out closer to race day. So pay attention to the emails you guys get from the Hermosa Beach Triathlon, and you'll see the schedule of clinics and what we will be covering throughout the day on Saturday. 4 p.m. that packet pickup closes. Remember, you have to bring your ID and your USAT card if you're a USAT member. This is insured by USAT, so everyone who participates has to either be a yearly member of USA Triathlon, or somebody mute. a yearly member of USA Triathlon, or you can pick up a 1-day membership, which you can do at registration. So if you have a yearly membership to USA Triathlon, bring your ID and your USAT card. Try and pick it up on Saturday so you don't have to deal with all this rigmarole on Sunday before the race when everything else is chaos, when you're trying to set up transition, you're trying to park, you're trying to fight the crowds, you're trying to figure out where your bike is, blah, blah, blah. You're trying to warm up. Try and do it on Saturday, get that dialed in. So Sunday, you can just show up and set up your transition, and we'll talk about that in a minute. You can get your body marked, and you could just deal with the demands of race day and not deal with checking in. So 12 to 4, Saturday, check in. Worst comes to worst, and you have to check in on Sunday. Packet pickup does open at 5:15 a.m. on Sunday and closes at 6:45 a.m. on Sunday before the race. We also have a pre-race meeting at 6:45 a.m. before the race goes off. Transition area closes at 6:45 as well. So everybody has to be out of transition on the beach by 6:45 so they can listen to the last minute details of the race, which will be given by yours truly. 7 a.m. the race starts. Now at your race check-in, also on the race website, they do have your start time. So we'll go off in waves. Each wave is about, I believe Michael said it's about 100 athletes in each wave. So 7 a.m. each wave goes off. 100 athletes in each wave. They go off at 6-minute intervals. So if you look at the race website, and I think it's under facts, it's under the facts on the website. You can tell what time you're going off based on your age group, based on your division. And like I said, it goes off in 6-minute intervals, approximately 100 athletes per interval. So the race goes, you finish in an hour and a half. The transition area reopens at 9 a.m. So you can go in and get your bike, you can get your clothes, whatever you need to get. That transition area reopens at 9 a.m. But they don't want to open the transition area while athletes are still coming in on the bike, running out. And then there's all of a sudden there's other people coming in, getting their bike and leaving, getting in the way. These athletes are still racing. So it doesn't open until 9 a.m. So enjoy your family and friends if you finish before 9 a.m. Once 9 a.m. hits, you can get in there, get your bike, and then you want to be back by 9:45 for the award ceremony. Everything has to be out of transition by 10:15 so they can open up the parking lots and open up the streets and everything. So make sure you get everything out by 10:15 a.m. Coaches, did I miss anything on the schedule? Anything that is not clear? Anything you guys want to go over?
You got it. It's good. And I'm on the website, Jim. So you're correct. It's under the FAQ section, and all the waves are there, start times and so on. So pretty easy to figure out what time you'll be starting.
Coach Megan, do we have any questions coming in on anything as of yet?
Yeah, we sure do, Jim. Let's go back to the swim. We have some questions about wetsuits and gear. So first and foremost, what's the recommendation for wetsuits? Would you go a shorty, a sleeveless, a full, or would you go tri-shorts?
So it is warm, but it all depends on what you've been using in practice. So if you've been using a sleeveless wetsuit in practice, use the sleeveless wetsuit on race day. If you've been using a full sleeve wetsuit in practice, use the full sleeve wetsuit in race day. If you've tried the shorts out and they're successful in practice and you're comfortable using them on race day, use them on race day. But whatever you're using leading into the event, you want to use on race day, and don't use anything new on race day. Now, like I said, you're going to get the most benefit, the most buoyancy out of a full wetsuit with full sleeves. As soon as you start taking away, the neoprene off of the wetsuit, you're going to lose some of that buoyancy. So we add the arms in, you have more buoyancy. You take the arms away, you go sleeveless. Yeah, you might be a little cooler, but you're going to lose a little buoyancy. You just wear the shorts and you lose the whole top and half of the legs. You're going to lose buoyancy, but you're going to stay even cooler in the warmer water. So it depends on what type of swimmer you are and how comfortable you are with the less buoyancy as we lose neoprene of the wetsuit.
Thanks, Jim. Yep, and like you said, Triathlon Lab has some great options there. And then also, if you're looking to rent, wetsuitrental.com and Triathlon Wetsuits, what we put in the chat, are good rental resources. Jim, also, any thoughts on salt water and any products that you might want to use, like Body Glide with a wetsuit in areas that may chafe?
Yeah, so Body Glide, there's plenty of products out there. I just use straight Vaseline. Some people say Vaseline deteriorates wetsuits, but I've used it for the last 15 years and I've never had an issue with it. So Vaseline, Body Glide, and there's Tri-Slide is another one that's really good. I mean, I've had athletes actually just use PAM, right? PAM cooking spray. That's when I first came to triathlon. My guys who got me in the triathlon said, just spray PAM all over, and it provides the same type of lubrication. I'm not saying spray PAM all over, but it's pretty much the same concept. It just provides that lubrication between any place that might rub and your skin. So, and you got to really know where that's going to be, because you don't want to get halfway through the swim and feel that rubbing, because it's pretty miserable. So practice, and wherever might have the tendency to chafe, you want to over apply whatever product you're using.
Hey, Jim, how about you give the recommendation of the one or two places that actually you should really put on the Vaseline?
Yeah, I mean, the back of the neck is always a tough spot. And then it depends on which side you breathe to. So whichever side is your more dominant side breathing to, that's the side that you want to apply a majority of the Vaseline. And on the side of that neck, as well as a lot of people who have a little flaw in their stroke kink their neck a little bit. So applying to that same side of the cheek as well. So just the back of the neck and the side of the neck, and you want to apply it really thoroughly.
And make sure you don't get that Vaseline on your goggles, because that will be hard to get off, and then you won't be able to see.
Yeah,
So just be real careful, or wear gloves when you're putting on the Vaseline, or have a friend do so to help you out. So going further into gear, would you recommend, if someone is going to wear a tech type suit for swimming, what are your thoughts on wearing that during the biking and the running portions? So Sydney, we may want to unmute you here and get a little more insight in terms of the specific tech suit that you're talking about. But Jim, any thoughts there?
Yeah,
Jim?
I mean, if you're wearing just a triathlon kit, you know, so if you guys watch the Olympics this weekend, you're going to see the athletes wearing a triathlon kit, right? They don't wear a wetsuit; they just wear the straight kit, and they swim in it. They jump, they run out of the water, they bike in it, and they run in it. But that's meant for triathlon. It's tight fitting. As they run, as they swim, there's no water getting into the neck. There's no water getting into the arms because it's nicely sealed off. So if you're talking about something like that, yeah, you wear it the whole way through.
Yeah, that's
something.
Sorry, I'm Sydney. Hi.
Yeah, hi.
That's what I was kind of thinking about, like the whole one piece that it's long on the legs, so the legs don't chafe, so we can run in it. That was my idea with that.
Yeah, as long as it's, you know, you want a little chamois in there. You don't want to, you know, you want a little bit of protection on the bike. But if it's meant for triathlon, yeah, you can wear it the whole way through. You just want to make sure it's not baggy. You want to be a nice form fitting, so there's no water getting in the swim and there's no wind getting in the bike.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good question. Thank you. That it, Meg?
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you very much, Sydney. Jim, and then another question about the bib. So does the race belt and the bib need to be worn for the bike and the run?
No, just the run. So that's why you don't, and we'll go over the transition area in a second, but you don't need to wear the bib and the race belt for the bike. Just on the run, when you run on a transition, you can just clip it around your waist and go run. You know, you want all those pictures, and the guy's taking the pictures on course, so they want to be able to take the picture, identify you, and then you can go buy it. And you know, look how great you look how that running stride. So put it on for the run. Don't worry about it on the bike.
All right, thanks, Jim. And then also, how do you get an annual USA Triathlon card?
Just go to usatriathlon.org, usa.triathlon.org, and click membership. And then when you have to click club, click Tower 26.
All right.
Now, you don't have to click Tower 26, but if you want to be a member of the club, you may as well be a member of the best, right, Jay?
Start at the top, yes.
So yeah, usatriathlon.org, and there's membership right there at the top.
All right, great deal. Thanks, Jim. Do you know what the expected water temperature will be?
I mean, like I said, it was 72, I believe, this morning. I don't see it dropping anywhere below that. Obviously, we don't know what type of current's gonna be coming in 3 weeks, so it could drop lower, but I would say high 60s, low 70s. Jerry, would you agree?
Yes, that'll be the range, upper 60s to low 70s.
Yeah.
Yep, good deal. So wetsuit legal. And Julian, unfortunately, no. The question is, can a friend come into the transition area to help get out of the wetsuit? And unfortunately, the transition area is closed out to spectators. So only athletes are allowed in.
Yeah, this is one thing you're going to practice is getting out of your wetsuit, guys. You're not going to ask friends in there to help out. It's all on you. This is you racing from beginning to end. There's no outside support from anybody. So that's one thing. It's a great question because you'll get in the transition. You never took a wetsuit off. It's, you know, you might feel like you're strangled by a boa constrictor when you get in there. You got to practice getting it out. How do you get it over the ankles? How do you get it over your wrists? And these are things we have to practice before race day. So you get into the transition and you're not running around with your head cut off trying to get that, you know, that wetsuit off, especially if you went and paid, $100 for it. You don't want to rip it. You want to really practice how you get out of that wetsuit. And there is quick, efficient ways to do it. You just have to go through the motions plenty of times before race day. So it's not foreign on race day.
And you know, Jim, if some athletes have a difficult time even practicing, and because it can be challenging if you haven't done it enough times, the most efficient way to get out of your wetsuit is to take it off in the water. So when you're in actually waist deep water, it's super easy. It comes off so quickly. So if you're finding that it's taking you a long time, on land to get rid of your wetsuit, just slip it off in the water, run up the beach with it.
Yeah, you'll be just as fast. You're taking off in the water, you're taking off in transition. Either way, it's taken off. But, and we'll get to this, but let's just have a plan. If you're going to take it off in the water, you take it off the water. If you're going to take it off in transition, we stick to it, take it off in transition, but make sure it's practiced before race day. So, when your whole family and friends are sitting there watching you in transition, you don't fall over and, they take a photo of you tipping over. And that's the funny photo of the day. So I've had it happen plenty of times myself. So I'm just warning you.
I wish we got that on film.
Oh, it's on
But,
film.
yeah.
It's on
All
film.
right.
I'm keeping it
We'll have to
download.
surface that.
Yeah.
And another question here, this may be for Maria, but will the route be marked on Saturday to be able to do a run through of the course?
It will be open to cars, but it should be marked on Saturday as to what the course is. But I will go through the course in a second, and it's very straightforward. The buoys will not be in the water, but the bike course and run course are, like I said, they're open to cars. So you have to be extremely careful as you're going through the course. But yeah, if it's not in detail marked Saturday or throughout the day when you go out there, it's a pretty straightforward course. So as we go through it here, you'll see.
All right, great. Thank you, Jim. Yeah, we can move forward with the slides.
All right, so just how to approach race weekend. The next thing I want to touch on, and like I said, it's a sprint race, so we don't have to really overdo. We have to really pay attention to nutrition because we don't have any indigestion issues on Sunday when you're out there on course. But as you increase distance, and a lot of you guys who this is the first time triathlon, this is your gateway drug. You're going to finish and you say, okay, I want to do a half Ironman. Okay, I want to do an Ironman. So you have to take, nutrition is the fourth discipline, right? So swim, bike, run, nutrition. We have to take it very serious. So I just want to touch on that a little bit here. What do you do on Saturday morning? The day before the race, what do you eat? So you want to eat a good balanced breakfast with a little extra carbs in there. You want to have some fruit, some oatmeal, maybe an egg to add some protein. You want to keep the glycogen reserves topped off because when you're in a shorter race like this, that's the fuel you're going to be burning. You're not going to be burning all the fat. You're not going to be burning protein. You're going to be burning carbohydrates. So we want to, quote unquote, carb load the day before. And this doesn't mean you have to eat pasta every single sitting. It's just eat a little more carbohydrates throughout the day Saturday. You don't want to overdo it so you're all heavy on Sunday morning, but just a little more emphasis on the carbohydrates Saturday. Get in a little bit of training. You want to go to Triathlon Lab, get checked in. And then you don't want to do too much the rest of the day because you want to have a good experience on Sunday. You don't want to stay on your feet all day, go walk around to the museum. You don't want to go to the zoo. You don't want to go, wherever you're going to go, walk the Venice Boardwalk or whatever you do on Saturdays. Get home and take it serious. It's only one weekend. Take it serious. Get off your feet, relax, go watch some Netflix, whatever you need to do. Same thing with dinner. Don't overhydrate. You're not just chugging water. We don't want to get your sodium all out of balance by taking in too much water. Just eat a balanced dinner, maybe a few more carbohydrates. This is where you can eat some pasta, maybe some chicken and some rice and a little extra, a pita or a sweet potato. So a little extra carbohydrates. And don't forget to eat your vegetables. Some athletes will say, or some coaches will say, oh, don't eat any salad the night before a race. Things are going to happen on Sunday morning, no matter what. All right. You're going to have to get it all out before the race. And the salad just helps with that. Electrolytes. This is a big thing in endurance racing. You want to keep your sodium levels topped off. Sodium is electrolytes. So you want to be sipping on a drink throughout the day on Saturday that has electrolytes in it. So they have little fizz tubes that are called Noon, or there's a whole bunch of different brands that you can get at somewhere like REI or Triathlon Lab, and you can put that in your water throughout the day. So make sure you're adding that to any drink that you're taking in, and then shut it down early. It's going to be an early morning on Sunday. So even if you can't sleep with all the race day anticipation, everyone gets a little nervous the night before a race. Shut it down early, lay there. Don't bring any screens in there with you. I guarantee you'll sleep. In the morning, you'll say, oh my God, I didn't sleep at all, but you will sleep. So that's just kind of what you do on Saturday, the day before the race. Sunday, you wake up early, giving you plenty of time to get out the door. You got to eat, you got to have coffee, you got to have your morning constitution. So make sure you give yourself plenty of time. It's one day, guys. You're going for this race. You put a lot in the training for this race. You put some money into this race. Treat it seriously. So if you have to get up at 4 a.m. to make yourself comfortable, to get out the door on time, to get the transition, to get set up, get up at 4 a.m. and make sure you're comfortable, giving yourself enough time to get there and get settled in. You're going to eat something that's easily digested, oatmeal, scoop of jam, scoop of nut butter, maybe a banana. You can bring a banana also to eat an hour before your start time. So if you get to the race at 5:30 a.m. We start at 7, eat a banana at 6 just to tide you over. It's easily digested. It's nothing that's going to weigh you down too much. Sip on those same electrolytes all morning before the race. Once you get to the race venue, make sure you check out those outhouses. A lot of you guys have that pre-race anticipation, that pre-race nerves. A lot of times that shows up in your gut, and then you have to go to the outhouse. So just giving you a heads up, it's all part of the process. Everyone has it. That's why the outhouse lines will be long. Get it taken care of first thing so you can go on to getting your transition set up and into your race, pre-race warm-up and in your race day mindset. So we will go over the transition setup in a minute, but that's what you're going to want to do next after you go number 2, after you finish up with your morning issues. So get the transition set up, which we'll cover in a second. One other thing you want to do when you get to the race venue and you get to where your bike is racked, because every rack will have, you will be assigned a number at check-in. Every rack will have a number. So you will put your bike where your number is assigned. So if you're number 357, there will be a rack that says numbers 350 to 400. You're going to put your bike on that rack. You want to find out where you run in the transition from the swim. So there will be a big arch that says swim in. Where you're going to run in from swim, where you're going to take your bike and bike out. That's going to be a big arch that says bike out. And then where you're going to run out from where your bike is, right? So there's a swim in where you run in from the swim, bike out where you take your bike and you go ride. Then you're going to bring your bike in, that same bike out arch, and then you're going to run out where there's the run out arch. So you have to check all these things out before you go to race. Make sure you have it dialed in as the, okay, I know the bike out's over there. I know when I grab my bike, I'm going to take it and I'm going to leave from there. And then when I bring my bike in and I put my running shoes on, I'm going to run out to the run course that way. Get it? So make sure this is all dialed in and you check all this stuff out as you get to the race venue, as you get to the transition area. So you have it all dialed in and you aren't guessing when you bring your bike back. You're like, oh God, where am I going to run out of this thing? You know it beforehand. So make sure you check that out. Another thing, when you find that bike rack, and I'll cover this in a second as well, but just off the top of my head, make sure you find a stagnant object that's close to where your bike is that's not going to move. So if there's a palm tree close to your bike rack outside of transition, no, hey, I know my bike rack is right by that palm tree. So when I run in from the swim and there's 1,000 bikes, I look at that palm tree and I know my bike is right next to that. Or there might be an outhouse, or there might be, but don't pick some guy wearing a blue hat because he's going to move. You want something that's not going to move, right? So find something that's not going to move that you can associate with your bike rack. So when you run in and you're all discombobulated from the swim, you went from that vertical to horizontal to vertical position. You're running, your blood pressure's all over the place, your heart rate's all over the place. You look at that object and you say, that's where my bike is. And you can run there, and then you see your colored towel. You find that colored towel, and same thing from you come in with the bike to put your run shoes on. Hopefully you're first off the bike. There's no bikes there. And you say, where's my bike rack? You find that stagnant object, you run to it, and then you find your run shoes. Once you get all this stuff figured out, you find the stagnant object, you found the bike, the swim in, the bike out, the run in, or the run out. Get out of the transition. Get your wetsuit, get your goggles, get your swim hat, get out of the transition, go down to the swim start, do a little jog, get a little warm up in, but don't just spend a ton of time puttering around in transition. There's just nervous energy there and you don't have to be there. So once you get everything set up, the transition area set up, you have all the, all the path that you're going to take from the, the exits, get out of transition and get down to the swim start. Do a little jog, and we'll cover that in a minute, but don't spend a ton of time just messing around in transition. It's just wasted energy, and a ton of nervous energy that you don't need to waste out there. So, and the sooner you can get down to the beach start, the sooner you can start warming up and getting your blood moving and getting woken up. All right, so this is transition. Can you guys see transition, or is our faces over transition? Jared, can you see the transition photo?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Good photo.
Okay. So this is how you set up transition, guys. So you have your bike on the bike rack. That's a bike rack. You can put it by the back of the saddle or by the front of the saddle, depending on how it fits. I don't believe there's any way that that is better or worse, but depending on where your saddle is placed on the seat tube, you might have to put it on the front or on the back, but you put it on, that's how you're going to put your bike on the bike rack. And then notice this photo, there's not too much stuff. There's not a bucket of water. There's not, gallons and gallons of Gatorade. There's not a ton of stuff. It's only what this athlete will need. So as you notice, they have their bike shoes, their helmet, their sunglasses in front of their running shoes, their race belt. They have a banana there. And then they have their bag that they brought everything in with, and everything in in the back of it where it doesn't get in the way. But it's minimalist, guys. You don't need a ton of different stuff. You just need those bike shoes, helmet, sunglasses. Then you have your run gear on the other side of it, run shoes, socks. You have your race belt, hat, visor, and then any nutrition you might need, a gel. Like I said, you'll find a stagnant object with this, that's close to your bike rack. Look over those paths you're going to take from the swim in to the bike out to the run out, or bike into the run out. And a lot of athletes say, what about the sand on my feet? I'm going to have sand on my feet. Don't I need a bucket for the sand on my feet? First off, there's going to be showers on the way from the beach into transition, so you can wash the sand off your feet. And honestly, I've probably done 50 races where I go from sand to transition. I've never rinsed my feet off. I just put my feet in my bike shoes and rode, and I've never had an issue. The sand doesn't bother you. So it's not really anything to worry about. But if you were worried about, there are showers when you exit the beach and go into transition. There will be showers to wipe any sand off your feet, but you don't need a bucket of water. You don't need all this stuff that's going to cause more chaos and more stress when you run in. And like I said, you're all discombobulated from the swim or from the bike. So just keep it minimal and set it up efficiently so you can just get it on and get out. Free time. All right, transition. Do we have any questions on transition, Meg? Anything anybody wants to go over there?
Yeah, one quick question, Jim. Where would you suggest leaving your phone?
So transition is not open. It's open to only athletes. So only athletes are allowed in transition area. I mean, if you have a friend, family member that you want to hand your phone to so you don't take any chances, but since it's only open to people who are in the race, no one's messing around with bags. So I just usually leave my phone in the bag. But like I said, if you want to be safe and give it to a loved one, you can give it to a loved one. But other than that, it's just athletes in there. There's nobody allowed in transition other than athletes. So it should be good just putting into your bag and zipping up your bag. And your bag is right under your bike, so it's not going anywhere. Anything else, Mike?
That's it for right now. We will talk about body marking here in a moment, I think, as well. But let's
yeah. So body marking will be located right outside a transition area. There might even be body markers in the transition area. They'll be everywhere, and they'll be yelling body marking. You can't miss it. Then there will be body markers down at the swim start as well. So there'll be plenty of opportunities. There's nothing you really have to worry about. If you wanted to write your on yourself, your number, if you know your number before a race day, you could write it on either arm and then put your age on your calf, on your left calf. You can do that. But there'll be plenty of body markers out there on race day, so it's not anything you really have to worry about. All right, so the swim course. The swim course is a half-mile clockwise course. It's just on the south side of the Hermosa Beach Pier. I know Chris is very familiar with this Hermosa Beach Pier area, so if you have anything you want to pipe up here, Chris, we've all swam down there, but Chris leads the swim workouts on Sunday mornings at 7:30. We have our Tower 26 swim workouts, coach swim workouts every Sunday, 7:30. It's in South Redondo. But he's our South Bay expert. So Coach Chris, if you have anything you want to pipe up here, make sure you do that. We'll talk about those open water swims shortly, and you guys are all welcome to join those open water swims. So like I said, the water temperature is usually the mid 60s, low 70s. So wear that wetsuit if you are comfortable. You're going to gain some time because of the buoyancy of that wetsuit. You just have to make sure you're comfortable getting out of it so you don't lose that time as you take it off. It's 125 yards out to the first turn buoy. So it's a right-hand turn buoy. It's 125 yards out, and that includes the ocean entry. So you're not necessarily swimming 125 yards. Depending if it's low tide, high tide, you might have a little more running or a little more swimming in that 125 yards. You're going to make a right-hand turn, 150 yards straight across. You're going north, south to north, 150 yards. You're going to make a right-hand turn at the second turn buoy where you're going to turn and go 125 yards back into shore, where you are going to have to make sure you keep an eye on those waves coming over depending on size of those swells. Remember, it's ocean entry and ocean exit. You're going to have a long beach run into transition. So it's a slight incline. Like I said, you're going to be a little discombobulated where you go from that horizontal to vertical position. Blood pressure might be high. Heart rate's going to be high. So you just have to keep moving forward. You can walk that longer run up the beach. You can jog it. Your heart rate will come down and it will settle. You will survive. But you just have to keep moving forward and trust that you will be fine. There are showers on the way into transition. If you feel you need to get the salt water off of you, you have a little extra sand on those feet, you can rinse it off in those showers.
One thing, Jimmy, if you're not a strong swimmer, you need to keep the back in your age group.
So yeah, that's a good point, Chris. So there are 100 people in each wave start. Like I said, they go off every 6 minutes. The stronger swimmers will be in the front. If you're not a stronger swimmer, take your time. It's no rush to attack the water. You can see the stronger swimmers attack the water. They can be under the waves. They're going to be through the break in 2 seconds. If you're a swimmer who needs a little more time, you have plenty of time. Just take your time getting in the water, get to the back of that wave. You don't have to be up at the front, because all that's going to do is create chaos. It's going to create stress. It's going to might create some hyperventilation. So take your time, get in the water. We want you to be safe. Safety first in this course, guys. There's going to be a lot of athletes in a small area. We always have to take safety into account. So if you're not the strongest swimmer, get to the back of that wave, back of your age group, get to the back of your wave start, and take your time getting in. So like I said, it's a beach start. So we are going to have to worry about the ocean entry. If you guys have never done an ocean entry, this is something you're going to practice before race day, because hopefully we have a day where the swell is like this morning, where the waves are a foot, maybe very calm conditions, but there also could be some pretty big swells coming in depending on the day. So this is something you're going to be comfortable with. So you have to be comfortable getting through the break, where you have to dive under the waves, grab the bottom, let the wave pass over you, get through the break, and always keep moving forward. You don't want to get caught in that break zone where it just is one wave hitting you after another, after another, after another. You dive under the wave, you feel it go over you, you get deep under that wave, let the ocean bottom rub your chest, feel the wave come over the top of you. As it comes over the top of you, then you can pop back up, keep swimming forward. You always keep swimming forward. In the break zone is where the waves are crashing. This is not where you want to get caught. Just keep moving forward through those waves, diving under the waves as they come. You might have to dive under 2-3 waves to get out. You might have to dive under 1 wave to get out. You might catch it right and not have to dive under any waves, but you want to be prepared by getting through the waves easy, efficiently. And it's really simple if you practice, but it's not something that you want to wait till race day to deal with. So practice getting out of those waves, dive under the wave, feel it go over your head, and then pop back up and keep swimming forward. Like I said, if it's crowded, like Chris just said, if it's crowded at the start, just relax. It'll thin out. 100 people all crammed in the one area is a lot of people. Relax and let it thin out. Take your time getting in the water, and pay attention to your wave start time at check-in. So if you have pink hat and you're going at 7:12, everything is on time. You're going to be going off at 7:12, but take your time. It will thin out, and just relax when you enter that water. It's nothing to be stressed about. You'll be fine. If you do enter the water and you get nervous, you start to hyperventilate, you start to feel that breath getting away from you, you're going to be fine. You just have to relax the breath and let it come back into a good rhythm. But it's not the end of your day. You're not going to enter the water, hyperventilate, and just say, okay, I'm done with this. That's what a lot of athletes do. But it happens to everybody from the top athletes in the world. So just recognize, okay, I'm starting to hyperventilate. My breath is starting to get away from me. I'm in this tight wetsuit. The water's not the warmest water. It's not like you're swimming in Barbados. You're swimming in high 60, low 70. So it's on the cooler side in the grand scheme of things. So this is a possibility. You might hyperventilate. You might start to get away from that breath, start to have these short, hurried breaths where you feel like you're having a heart attack. You're fine, guys. Just relax. Just ease the breath. Take big breaths. If you need to get on your back and just relax, you get on your back and just float. When you're wearing a wetsuit, you're going to float. You're not going to sink to the bottom. The wetsuit gives you the buoyancy. So just relax. Let the breathing come back into control, and then you can keep moving forward and finish the swim. But you will be fine. It's not the end of your day if that does happen. Jerry, did I hit everything there on hyperventilation and stressing out at the swim?
Yeah, I think it was good. And I would mention just one thing, Jim, just in case, guys, if there's any surf, meaning Jim talked about it being 1 foot this morning at your workout, Jim. But let's say we have surf on event day. And for you guys, I mean, some of you have already attended some of our clinics, and it may be a little bit challenging getting through the surf. Waves come in groups, anywhere from 4 or 5 to 6 waves in a group. They're several seconds apart, and then there's a lull, there's a break before the next set of waves come in. And that break could be anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, minute and a half. So you can wait, you can just sit there and wait, and then you'll see all of a sudden flat, there's no waves. That's your chance to get out and start swimming.
Great.
There's
Good
also
point.
plenty of lifeguards down there as well, Jim. There's probably 15 lifeguards working that event. So
Oh yeah, there's going to be
There's
plenty of
plenty-
lifeguards out there. Plenty of people keep an eye on you. No one's going to let you go off on your own.
Yeah.
We're going to stay fairly tight to the buoys. You don't want to come up the turn buoys and be 30, 40, 50 yards away from those turn buoys. I mean, you don't have to be completely on top of the turn buoys where everybody's going to be. You can be, 5, 10 yards away from them as you turn, but you don't want to be way off those turn buoys because that's just added yardage to your swim. After you make that second right-hand turn, now you're only 125 yards away from shore. So you're going to have to start looking for, as you swim back in and you're breathing, every time you breathe, you're going to have to start looking behind you under your armpit for waves that might be approaching. Because if you see a wave that's coming and it might be crashing on you because you're in that break zone, you have to spot it, turn around, face the wave, dive under it, just like you did on the way out. Let the wave pass over you. Once it passes over you, then you can turn around and start swimming back to shore again. And like Jerry said, it might be 2 or 3 waves where you have to do this, but then it settles down and you can swim back in when it's a little calmer. But you have to be able to sight it, and you don't want to let that thing tumble you. It happens to everybody, and if it does happen to you, you just have to recognize to get your hands out in front of you and just realize that, hey, I'm going to pop up to the top of the water and I'll be fine. But you just kind of have to brace yourself if you do get tumbled. But you want to head that off of the pass. Every time you breathe, make sure you're glancing under that armpit, watching for any waves that are approaching. If a wave's approaching, you stop, you face the wave, you dive under the wave, and then you keep swimming back to shore once that wave has cleared over your head. And like I said, you might have to do it for 2 or 3 waves. Once you get out of the water, you might be a little wobbly. That's fine. It's totally expected. Just keep moving forward for transition. You can walk the transition. You can jog the transition. Just keep moving forward. Your heart rate will stabilize. It will come down. That blood pressure will come down because you're going from the vertical position to the horizontal position. And we do provide plenty of opportunities for you guys to practice your open water swimming. We have coached open water workouts every Sunday in South Redondo Beach at Torrance Beach at 7:30 a.m. That's a Tower 26 coached swim workout every Sunday, 7:30 a.m. We also have 6 a.m. every Wednesday at Tower 26 in Santa Monica. We would like you to contact, if you have any questions or you want to attend those, we'd like you to contact at tower26.com. Write us in. We just want you to be able to swim 1 mile under 30 minutes or 1,000 yards under 24 minutes if you want to attend those swims. If you can't do that, then we have plenty of pool swims for you to attend because we want you to gain your ability to be able to swim comfortably and strong enough in the water so you can actually enjoy the water and not just fight to complete the distance. So we'll invite you to our pool swims and I'll give out that schedule later. But we'd like you to be able to complete a mile in under 36 minutes or 1,000 yards under 24 minutes. If you can do that, email us, contact at tower26.com, and we'll give you more details on those beach swims. Like I said, every single Sunday, every Wednesday, you have more than plenty of opportunities to join us and get that open water practice under coached guidance every single two times a week at least. If you want wetsuits, you want to try on wetsuits, go to Triathlon Lab. They have plenty of wetsuits so you can find a wetsuit that fits your budget and fits you correctly, because plenty of wetsuits out there, but not all wetsuits are built for your specific body type. So make sure you go and trying those on and getting a wetsuit that fits you. So transition, you're going to run in the transition. Like I said, you're going to find your bike by that big stagnant object, pull your wetsuit down as you go, or like Jerry says, you could take your wetsuit off if the surf is okay and you take your wetsuit off in the water, you can be comfortable doing that, do that. Otherwise, pull your wetsuit down as you're going into transition. Just less stuff you have to do once you get to your bike. Once you get to your bike, pull your wetsuit down the rest of the way. Make sure you get it over those ankles, stick your finger under your foot and help it over that ankle. If you need to wear socks on your bike, make sure you have the socks with those bike shoes. Sit down, put on your socks, put on your shoes, grab your helmet, grab any nutrition you might need, put on your sunglasses. Now, for all of you who have never raced a triathlon before, you don't just get on your bike in transition and ride it out. You have to grab your bike and you have to walk safely, or you can jog. But if you have bike shoes on that have cleats on them, it could be slippery. So you have to be safe when you grab your bike. And you walk or jog with your bike to the bike out. Once you get to the bike out, you go under the arch. There's a mountain line. You can only get on your bike after that mountain line, right? I didn't say mountain lion, mount line, right? So get on your bike after the mountain line. Now, if you ever go to the Malibu Triathlon on Sunday, the classic distance triathlon on Sunday, occasionally you see some guy flying in the transition, riding his bike through transition. It's because they didn't have a Coach Jim-led race talk telling them, you have to get on your bike after the mountain line. So you grab your bike, you jog or walk out of transition with your bike. Once you get past the mountain line, which is on the other side of the bike out arch, you get on your bike and you can start running. So you cannot get on the bike to the mountain line. And then when you come back in the transition, you have to get off your bike before the dismount line. We'll go over that in a second. Oops, where am I at? Okay, so the bike course, 10-mile clockwise bike course. You start out of transition, you're gonna go up Pier Avenue. Now, this is a key part of the course because you start on an incline. Now, I hope all you guys know that you can shift gears on your bike, or you have a bike that you could shift gears. If you don't have a bike that you can shift gears and you're just doing this on a beach cruiser, you might have a tough time going up Pier Avenue. For all you guys who have gears on your bike, you want to make sure when you set your bike up in the morning, it's in a gearing that allows you to go uphill with ease. So you probably want to be in the small ring in the front and one of the easier cogs in the back of your bike, so it's closer to the hub of the wheel. So if we need to do a talk on gearing, we can do that down the road. But you want to be in an easy gearing, because when you get on your bike out of transition, you're going to be going straight uphill. And you don't want to be the person who has the bike in too hard of a gear and you can't turn the pedals and you just tip over, right? So we want to anticipate this going up Pier Avenue to the loops of the bike course. Have the gear in the right position as you leave transition, going down to the swim. Say, oh, wait a minute, Coach Jim reminded me I need to have my gear in the right gearing. So when I go up Pier Avenue out of transition, it's easy to get up Pier Avenue. So small ring in the front and one of the easier cogs in the back. So once you get up Pier Avenue, you're going to make a left-hand turn. This is where the loops start. You have 3 loops, right? Each loop is approximately 3 miles. So you're going to make a left, you're going to go down Valley Drive, make a tight right-hand U-turn, back Ardmore, make another tight right-hand U-turn, back Valley, and you complete 3 loops, right? I've had athletes who've raced for me for years go to courses that are 3 loops, and they do 2 loops, and they come in the transition, and they're disqualified because they didn't do all 3 loops. It's 10 miles, 3 loops, guys. Do all 3 loops. There's going to be a big sign that says, if you finish your 3rd loop, make a left-hand turn. You're going to come back down Pier Avenue. Now, Michael Epstein, when I spoke to him yesterday, the race director said, this is another big area we have to pay attention to coming down Pier Avenue, because you guys are going to be ripping it down that hill that you climbed up coming out of transition. A lot of athletes forget that they have brakes until they get the transition. They slam on the brakes and they go right over the handlebars because they slam on those brakes too hard. So you can let it rip down Pier Avenue, but you got to be feathering those brakes easy in the transition and slow it down so you're getting off your bike at the dismount line. Come to a slow stop at the dismount line, stop, put your feet down, get off your bike easily, and then run in or jog or walk in the transition with your bike to your bike rack, which you're finding with that stagnant object. Rack your bike, and you finish the bike course. Any questions there on the bike course? It's pretty straightforward. You just have to be prepared for that climb out of transition. Know it's 3 loops, and then be prepared for that descent in the transition. One other thing is you have to stay right at all times. Right is where we want to be. If you're passing, you move out to the left, make the pass, and then you can go back to staying to the right. Now, there's going to be athletes going to be riding to the left the whole time. First off, there's going to be USA Triathlon officials out there that can get penalties. And we've had an athlete get a penalty last weekend who's an experienced athlete, was out to the left for too long. Got a 2-minute penalty, and I had to hear about it all week, right? So I'm still hearing about this penalty. You always ride to the right unless you're passing, move to the left. Now, if you're an athlete who's looking for a PR, you're looking for the fastest time of your life, I hate to say this is probably not the course for you, because we need to be safe, guys. You can go left, you can stay left, but there's a lot of first-time triathletes on this course, and we need everything to be safe. So stay to the right as you're riding this course. If you need to pass someone, move to the left. Once you make that safe pass, you can move to the right, but you're always mindful of where you're at. You're looking over your shoulder, making sure nobody's coming over that shoulder, and you're totally tuned into all of your surroundings at all times on the bike, not making any sudden movements, not making any sudden turns or jerking the handlebars at all, because chances are with this many people on a course that's 10 miles, you're going to be getting in front of somebody, and we always want to keep that rubber side down and be safe. So always stay to the right unless you're passing. Questions? Any questions on the bike course, Meg?
Yeah, Jim. So how would they know if you've done 3 loops? Let's go back to the timing chips and timing mat discussion.
Is this a cheater? Who's this cheater? What cheater is asking this question? Everyone has timing chips, right? And we can tell by the timing chips how far you've gone and what your time is. So if everyone is taking 30 minutes to do 3 loops, and all of a sudden Joe Schmo comes in at 15 minutes, I mean, if I was racing, that's what I would come in at, but everybody else would be, we know that you only did 2 loops. Jerry is cracking up over here. Jerry, what do you want to say about this?
If somebody can't count to 3, you have a bigger problem than.
Yeah, well, hopefully there's no cheaters out there, but I think by looking at the times, we can tell if 3 loops were done. And yeah, that's why the timing chips are on those ankles. Megan, being a former race director, do you have any take on this question?
Yeah, there will be probably, so the timing chips are RFID, and there will likely be either a mat or a station where they will know based on your splits and track your loops.
Yep. So no cheaters. If there's any cheaters out there, they have to answer to me. They don't want that. Anything else, Meg?
Any cheaters will have to do 4 loops.
Yeah, exactly. Stay out there all day doing loops.
That's right.
Dizzy.
Yep. And just to clarify, headphones are not allowed on the bike or the run. And for further clarification, certainly not allowed during the swim. We have seen people try and listen to MP3 players during the swim. That is certainly not allowed. Equipment otherwise, no fins, no pool buoys in the swim. But as we noted earlier, wetsuits are allowed. And then
Safety, guys, safety. All that stuff takes your mind off the present. It takes your mind off the process and adds in a whole different, problem we have to deal with if you're not present and paying attention to your surroundings. So we always want you paying attention to the surroundings. So no music, nothing that can distract you.
Yep, thank you, Jim. And then also for the swim time, we're getting clarification from the timer. So stand by. We're trying to answer the question. Deborah, thank you for asking. Some races have a timing mat at the beginning. So your swim start time will begin once you cross the mat. And there are other scenarios where it's a clock time. So as we were discussing wave starts, if your wave starts at 7:30, then the clock will start at 7:30.
Yeah, so that's the way. I mean, I've done hundreds of these local the local races, and if your wave starts at 7:30, that's when your time starts. So you have to be with your wave. There's not going to be a mat on the beach timing everybody as they go over that mat. It's going to be your wave starts at 7:30, be ready at 7:30, and your clock starts when your wave starts. When you come out of the water, you're going to cross over that timing mat, probably going into the transition area. So that run, the run up the beach probably counts as part of your swim time, I'd assume. I don't know exactly where the mats are going to be, but yeah, so everybody's on the same playing field, but make sure you are ready for your wave start and you know what time your wave is starting. That's paramount.
Yep, and that's a great question, Deborah. And then also make sure that you are wearing the cap that is given to you in your race bag.
Yep.
So make sure that you're using the cap that's given to you by the race.
Beautiful. Great questions, guys. Great questions. All right. So when you're on the bike, you want just nice, strong, and maintainable effort, be safe. But once you get into your groove, once you get pure avenue and you're on those 3 loops, you can really get into a nice race pace effort. You've done all this practice. You should know what your race pace effort is. Keep the cadence nice and comfortable. You never want to be grinding a super low cadence or an extremely high cadence. That's how fast your feet are moving on the bike. So you don't want to be down just totally stomping like you're one-legged squatting. You're pedaling such a low cadence. And you don't want to be spinning those feet so fast that you're not getting any bang for your buck. And let's be a nice, maintainable, comfortable cadence where you're getting good power and good efficiency the whole way through. This is stuff we talk about on our Tower 26 coached rides every week. Like I said, stay right at all times, pass on the left. Know your gearing, guys. I gave my bike one time years ago to a guy who he's never done a triathlon. He said, "Hey, can I borrow your bike?" And I said, "Sure." Take my bike. So he brings it back after the Malibu Triathlon. He says, "Oh, that's a great race, but man, getting up those hills was so hard." And I said, "Well, didn't you change the gears to make it easier?" He said, "Gears? I didn't know I could change gears." Know your gears, guys. Know that you can change gears that make it easier to go uphill and it can make it faster to go downhill. So know your gearing and practice those before race day. It's another thing we talk about on our Tower 26 weekly rides that I'll talk about in a little bit. Stay present and focus on the process. Always be aware of your surroundings. Break the distance into smaller chunks. You don't start the first loop and say, "Oh my God, I have 3 loops to go." Break it down 1 loop at a time. Like I said, take that descent back to transition nice and easy. Don't slam your brakes on the finish, putting you over the handlebars. So nice, easy down that hill into transition. Keep your nutrition coming in. Like I said, take gel, make sure those glycogen reserves stay topped off. We don't want you bonking or having a subpar day, having any type of cramping that can happen if you become deficient in those carbohydrates and electrolytes. And if you want more access to training, our Tower 26 Foundation program offers 3 live virtually coached workout three live virtually coached workouts per week. So we have one bike workout, two bike workouts, one run workout, some descriptive swim workouts for the pool. And then we also have our ocean swim workouts worked into that. But we do talk about all the gearing, efforts, technique, comfort, familiarity, run technique, all this kind of stuff in those virtually coached workouts. So if you want more information on that, go to training.tower26.com and the link is on there. So it's the foundation training program. And Coach Chris will fill you in on more details if you'd like a personal call from Coach Chris. He calls all of our athletes if they want to go over more details of the foundation training program. So we have built in training for you to bring you get you race ready for this race. Another piece of equipment a lot of Los Angeles-based triathletes find useful is a bicycle trainer. So as you see here, you put your actual bike on this piece of equipment and you can ride it in your apartment, in your house, and you have to go fight traffic lights, traffic, wind, rain, we don't have rain, hills, anything like that. You get the workout, very quick, efficient workout where you don't spend a ton of time getting out to where you're going to ride. You get in that quality workout on a bicycle trainer. Those are available at Triathlon Lab. They're available at REI. You want a fluid. Now you just need a basic fluid trainer that's going to be easily set up and doesn't take up a ton of space. So we use those for our virtually coached bike workouts through our Tower 26 Foundation program. So any more questions on a trainer, you can write that in the chat or write us contact@tower26.com and we can fill you in. All right, transition 2, you get off at the dismount line. That's right outside of the bike in arch, bike out arch. It's the same thing. So you have to get off your bike before that dismount line. Come to a complete stop, put your feet down, and safely get off that bike. Don't come in like a bat out of you know what and expect to fly over the handlebars. I want you to take it in nice and easy. Get off at the dismount line. Walk or jog your bike back to your bike rack, the same place you took it out. You're going to put it back. Sit down. Take off your bike shoes, put on your running shoes. Then as you run out of transition, you can grab your hat, your race belt, your sunglasses if you don't have them on already, and you can run out of transition as you're putting all that stuff on. You don't have to dilly-dally in there and put all that stuff on as you're sitting around. Make it snappy, but not hasty. Every single athlete comes in and looks at the results at the end of the day and says, oh God, if I only would have been a minute faster in transition, I would have beat, your arch nemesis. So get into transition. Don't spend a ton of time in there and get out of transition. Make it efficient. Make sure everything's set up accordingly and you can get in and get out and not waste any time in that transition area. Run course is straightforward. You're just up the strand, 1.5 miles up, 1.5 miles back north. It's completely flat. It's going to be hot. There's no shade on the strand for all you guys from the South Bay. You know that. Make sure you have your hat and visor, some sunglasses. The finish line is in the sand, but it's only about 10 feet of running in that sand. So you don't have to worry about too much soft sand running, but there's not much to the run course, just a flat 1.5 miles out, 1.5 miles back. Coming off the bike, you're going to feel a little heavy, but your legs will come around. This is what we want to practice as well. In practice, you want to practice a bike ride, 45, 60-minute bike ride, get off the bike and then go run 15 minutes just so you know the feeling, what it's going to feel like coming off the bike and running the 3-mile run. Like I said, your legs are going to be heavy. You take it 1 mile at a time. Don't get ahead of yourself and think, oh God, how am I going to run 3 miles here? Just 1 mile to the next mile to next mile. Just run your race. There's going to be a little voice in the back of your head that us at Tower 26 call the bad wolf. It's going to be telling you to stop and walk. You don't need to stop and walk. Just keep running through that and you'll be fine. It's 3 miles. Like I said, break it down into smaller segments. And then you always want to finish strong for those finish line pictures. Put your arms up, put your hands up, and give those pictures the nice big smile so you can frame it and send it to your mom for Christmas. All right. Any questions on the run? Meg, anything? Transition 2, run?
No, sir.
All right, beautiful. Yeah, the run, pretty straightforward. I just put together a quick sample training week. So you guys, nothing too crazy here. Just we want to do one discipline a day. If you want everything thought out for you, like I said, look up that foundation training program through Tower 26. We have everything thought out for you, and we give you a schedule every single week with those virtually coached workouts. You want to make sure you're swimming, biking, or running each day. Maybe take a day off. If you're going to take any day off, you want to take Monday off because you're going to have a little more work on the weekends. Run easy on Monday if you're not taking off. You can do it if you take off Monday, you're going to run Tuesday on our Tower 26 Coach Foundation workout. You do one of our Tower 26 pool swims on Wednesday. We do those 5:45 a.m. and 6:45 a.m. at El Segundo's Wiseburn Aquatic Center. So for more info on that, go to tower26.com. Thursday, you might want to do another run. Friday, do a little bike. We also have our virtually coached bike workouts on Friday morning with our foundation program. Saturday, if you have a little more time, you're a weekend warrior, you can ride for an hour. And then that's where you do the run off the bike, where you just get the legs moving, get that feel for what it's like to run off of the bike. And then Sunday, you can join us for our open water swim with Coach Chris at Torrance Beach in South Redondo. So that's kind of a sample training week. You're just doing something every day. You're not overdoing it, just a little bit each day, just to get you familiar with the disciplines that are required in triathlon. All right, so some things that you want to think about, some gear upgrades that you might want to make. You might want to buy a wetsuit, get that at Triathlon Lab. Goggles, if you need 2 pairs of goggles, like we're talking about, you can get those at Triathlon Lab as well. Race belt, Triathlon Lab. A lot of us you might be new to the bike. You might be uncomfortable on your bike. They do offer bike fits at Triathlon Lab. Another thing you have to think about is running. So a lot of athletes just go to Dick's Sporting Goods and buy the pair of sexy running shoes because they like the color pink. But that doesn't necessarily fit your specific foot. Then that athlete who went and bought those sexy running shoes has shin splint, Achilles issues, plantar fasciitis. You need a pair of shoes that fits your specific foot. A good place to do that, Roadrunner Sports. They have one in the South Bay. Forget which street it's on, but if you just look up Roadrunner Sports, and they do a shoe fit, and they tell you exactly what type of shoe that you need. It's all dialed into their computer system. It's not just some old cranky guy looking at your foot saying, oh, I think it's this. It's very detailed and tells you exactly what type of shoe you need for your specific foot, so you can head off any of those foot injuries, shin splints, calf injuries, knee. It's a kinetic chain. So if something's moving wrong on the bottom of the leg, it's going to kick up to the rest of the leg eventually. So let's make sure you have a pair of shoes that fit your specific foot. Gel hydration, like we've been talking about, they have those at Triathlon Lab. You can try on your race kit at Triathlon Lab. Bicycle trainers, REI, Triathlon Lab. You want a fluid trainer, something that doesn't take up much space, a couple $100 for one of those. And believe me, it pays off more than you could ever know, because it provides quick, efficient training where you have to go out and fight the traffic. And then we can also get you on that triathlon training program through Tower 26. Go to training.tower26.com so we can do all the thinking for you. All right, so this is just where I talked about how Tower 26 can help you. Like I said, we have plenty of pool workouts every single day of the week with exception of Sunday. We have pool workouts at both El Segundo, Wiseburn Aquatic Center, as well as Pacific Palisades Charter High School. So go to tower26.com/pool for our pool schedule, and you should check out where you can join us. Any more questions, contact at tower26.com. Like I told you guys, we have 2 ocean swims a week, 7:30 a.m. on Sundays at Torrance Beach in South Redondo, and 6 a.m. on Wednesdays at Tower 26 in Santa Monica. More questions, contact at tower26.com. More details, tower26.com/ocean. We also have our training programs, like I've talked about in detail in the plenty of previous slides. So any more questions on that, ask in the chat or write us contact at tower26.com. One other thing we have is Coach Jerry and I do the world famous Tower 26 Be Race Ready podcast. It's the biggest podcast in triathlon, actually. Am I right, Jerry? The biggest podcast in triathlon. So you can listen. It's all based on open water swimming and triathlon training. We have, I believe, 79 episodes with maybe number 80 coming out next week, somewhere around there. So it's all based on, and it's not just boring. What the heck am I going to listen to triathlon swimming? That's going to be the most boring content ever, most boring podcast ever. We keep it entertaining and we keep it moving. So we have plenty of those, and they're evergreen. They have shelf life, Chair. I always get this one wrong. They're evergreen. So you can listen to them over and over and over again. We talk about plenty of training tips, technique, all that stuff. So Tower 26 Be Race Ready podcast, and you can email anything else, contact at tower26.com. That's it, guys. A lot of information there. Like I said, this has been recorded. You can go back and watch anything that you want to watch again. You can listen to my buttery tones whenever you want. Any other questions coming in, Meg, that I didn't cover? Anyone wants to go over anything else? Which Ironman they're going to sign up for next? What are we going to talk about?
Great information. Thank you so much, Jim. So one quick question and a follow-up about the swim clinics and the Tower 26 swim sessions. So the Saturday, Sunday swim clinics are sold out, but Brittany, thank you for asking the question. You still can join us. You can do drop-in, or please check out tower26.com/pool for our pool sessions. You can see the schedule there. You can either sign up monthly, as Jim noted, or do drop-in sessions. And same thing for the beach swims. And then another question for the run. does the run include running up the stairs at the end of Hermosa?
No, because you're running up the beach. You run up the beach to the transition area. So you skip the stairs. You run up to the strand, and that goes right into the transition area, I
No,
believe.
there is a turnaround, Jim. At the turnaround, there's like 5 steps that you run up as
Okay,
you're
well, Coach Chris
getting
knows.
into Manhattan Beach. So right at the turnaround point, there's like 5 stairs. It's nothing. So
Oh, so it's not near transition area. Okay.
No.
All right. So that's something to look out for. But yeah, going up in the transition, you just run up the beach. Thank you, Chris. All right, so Natasha asked if I speak this fast on the podcast. I was trying to fit a lot of content in, not trying to take up your whole night, guys. So I spoke a little fast on the back half of that. So like I said, anything that needs clarification, email us, or we could have another call in a few weeks if we need to go over more, if we're finding a ton of questions coming in. Parking spots near the transition area. I think that's one of the questions. Did somebody write that? There's going to be plenty of street parking in the neighborhoods, as well as all the lots will be open. So, just get there early and make sure you're settled in. Don't wait till the last minute to go try and find parking. But you'll find a spot, even if it's, quarter mile away, you'll find a spot. Get there early so you can park and be comfortable. And Brittany's writing that she's nervous. Everybody's nervous, guys. And you do this 1,000 times, you're still going to go to race day and be nervous. Once that gun goes off, if you've done the right training, if you've prepared correctly, if you're ready, you're dialed in, you're going to be fine. The muscle memory kicks in, but you can't wait till the last minute and just, say, oh, I'm going to go out there and do it. Let's get you prepared, doing the disciplines and moving through, what you're going to be doing on race day. So nothing's foreign on race day. Sorry, Meg, I'm cutting you off in the questions. So anything else coming in that we got to go over?
No, you've covered it all, Jim. Thanks. No more questions coming in. We hope that you come join us for a couple of sessions at Tower 26 to be performance prepared and race ready, and really look forward to supporting everybody towards a great race.
Yeah, guys, thank you very much for joining. We appreciate you spending your time with us. Like I said, any other questions, contact at tower26.com. Coach Jerry, anything else you want to go over?
Good job, Jim. Well done. A lot of content bundled up.
Yeah. So we'll send the link out. We'll send it out through the Hermosa Triathlon database, as well as put it on our Tower 26 Facebook page. And we'll make it so you can't miss it. You'll be able to find it. Cindy, anything else that you want to go over? You good? Coach Chris, anything? Our South Bay hero. All right, guys, we look forward to seeing you guys out of race day. Thank you for joining. Much appreciated. And go out there, get prepared, and let's have some fun out there on race day. So see you guys soon. Thank you for joining.